Hello, my dear students. Welcoming you all to the course 20 NCA 103 Digital Fundamentals and Computer Architecture. In this video, we are going to discuss about some prerequisites that the students should know prior to enrolling to this course. Okay. Okay, now let's start with signals. A signal is an electromagnetic wave or an electric current or often a time varying voltage which carries information from one system or network to another system. Okay, there are two main types of signals used in electronics: analog signals and digital signals. Analog signals are having continuous values, whereas digital signals will have only discrete values. Okay. An analog signal is time varying and bound to a range, for example, plus 12 volt to minus 12 volt, but there is an infinite number of values within this continuous range. That is, it takes continuous values. Okay. When plotted the temperature versus time, an analog signal produces a smooth and continuous curve. Analog systems can generally handle higher power than digital systems. Digital systems can process, store, and transmit data more efficiently but can only assign discrete values to each point. Before discussing about the digital systems, let us look into the logic levels and binary digits. Digital electronics uses circuits that have two states which are represented by two different voltage levels called high and low. If the voltage level is in between 0 volt to 0.8 volt, then it represents the low logic level. And if the voltage is in between 2 to 5, it represents the high logic level, and the voltage in between 0.8 to 2.0 is treated as an invalid state. Okay, the voltages represents numbers in the binary system. In binary, a single number is called a bit, and a bit can have the value of either 0 or a 1 depending on if the voltage is low or high. Now let's look into the term pulse. A pulse is a sudden fluctuation in an electrical quantity such as voltage or current. That is, a change in the voltage level or the current can be called as a pulse. A pulse can be positive pulse or a negative pulse. A single positive pulse is generated when a normally low voltage goes to its high level and then returns to its normal low level. That is, we are going to have a transition from the low to high and then high to low. So that can be called as a positive pulse. A single negative pulse is generated when a normally high voltage goes to low and then returns to its normal high. Okay, that is a transition from 1 to 0 and then 0 to 1. That is the single negative pulse. Okay, the time taken by the pulse to rise from low to high is called the rising time or rise time, and the time taken by the pulse to go from high to low is called the falling time or the fall time. Okay, now let's discuss about this digital waveforms. These digital waveforms are made up of a series of pulses and they change between the low and high levels. Okay, as we just said, a positive pulse is one that goes normally from low logic level to high level and then from the high level back to this low. Okay, so the transition from the low level to high, that edge can be called as rising edge or the leading edge, and the transition from 1 to 0 of the signal can be called as falling edge or the trailing edge. Similarly, a negative going pulse is the one that goes from a normally high logic level to low logic level and from the low level back to this high. Okay, so that is the negative going pulse. Okay. As we know, these digital signals can take discrete values. And if it takes only two values like 0 and 1, then the signal can be called as binary signal. Okay, so a binary signal, also known as a logic signal, is a digital signal with two distinguishable levels. Okay, these digital signals are resistant to noise, that is, they are less prone to noise. And it is easy to perform both logical and mathematical computations in binary system. Now let's have a comparison between these analog and digital signals. Analog systems takes continuous values, whereas digital systems takes only discrete values. Analog system takes infinite range of values, whereas the digital signals deals with only finite range of values. The analog systems deals with more exact values but more difficult to work with because we'll be having an infinite range of values, right? But in the case of digital signals, they are not as exact as analog but easier to work with. Why? Because we have to deal with only a finite range of values. Okay. The minimum and maximum values in the analog system can be either positive or negative. That is, it can take the values within the plus 12 volt to minus 12 volt, right? So it can have the values as either positive or negative. But in the case of digital systems, the minimum value must be 0 volt and the maximum value must be 5 volt. So now we know the analog and digital systems. Okay, fine. Many systems use a mix of analog and digital electronics to take advantage of both this technology. Okay. For example, if you want to hear the music which is stored on a CD drive, the sound waves which is in the analog format and the data which is stored on the CD drive is in the digital format. Okay, so we need to convert this digital data to the analog data, right? So we are having a device called digital to analog converter. Okay, so the digital data from the CD drive gets converted into the analog signal with the help of this digital to analog converter. So the music audio signal which is in the form of analog or the sound waves can be reproduced with the help of an amplifier. Okay, so this system makes use of both this technology, both the analog and digital electronics. Okay, fine. Let us look into some more terminologies. Actually, the pulses are not ideal but are described by the rise time, fall time, amplitude, and other characteristics. Okay, so the time measurement between the 10% on the rising edge of a pulse to the 90% point on the rising edge of the pulse can be called as rise time. Okay, similarly, the time measurement between the 90% point on the trailing edge of a pulse to the 10% point on the trailing edge of the pulse can be called as fall time. And the time measurement between the 50% on the rising edge and the 50% on the falling edge can be called as the pulse width. The length of the time in seconds that the waveform takes to repeat itself can be called as a period, okay, or a cycle. So the length of the time that the waveform takes to repeat itself can be called as a time period. Okay, fine. And the number of times the waveform repeats itself can be called as a frequency. Okay, if the time period increases, of course, the frequency decreases, right? The number of times it repeats will be decreases if it takes longer time, right? So it is the frequency is the reciprocal of the time period and it is measured in hertz. So F is equal to 1 by T, where T stands for the time period. Okay, so when the time increases, the frequency decreases. Okay, and the clock is a basic time signal which is an example of a periodic wave. Periodic wave means it repeats itself within particular time period. Okay, so it is a basic timing signal. The clock is the basic timing signal. Okay, fine. The term amplitude defines the intensity of the signal waveform. It defines the magnitude of the signal waveform. Okay, for digital systems, it can have the minimum value 0 and a maximum value of plus 5, right? So for digital signals, the amplitude will always be 5 volts. Okay. Then the term duty cycle, which is the percentage of the ratio of pulse width to the total period of the waveform. Pulse width, as we know, it is the pulse duration, right? So the pulse width, the ratio of the pulse width to the total period of the waveform can be called as the duty cycle. So duty cycle is equal to PW divided by T. A timing diagram is used to show the relationship between two or more digital waveforms. Here, the diagram shows the relationship between the digital waveforms A, B, and C based on the common clock signal. Okay, now let's discuss about the data transfer. The data can be transmitted either by serial method or by parallel method. The first diagram shows the serial data transfer. As we can see, there we are having only one line to transmit the data from the computer to the modem, right? So through this single line or single bus, we can transmit only one bit at a time. So after transmitting the first bit from the computer to the modem, the second bit will be transmitted. Okay, that means one after another. It will transmit the data sequentially. It will transmit the data serially, one bit at a time. One after another will be transmitted. But in the case of parallel transfer, we'll be having many parallel lines to transmit the data. Okay, so to transmit that 8-bit data, we'll be having 8 different parallel lines from the computer to the printer machine. Okay, so all the 8 bits will be transmitted simultaneously from the computer to the printer. Okay, that's the parallel transfer. Okay, so using this parallel lines or parallel bus, we are transmitting the 8 bits simultaneously. Okay, so that's the case of parallel data transfer. Okay, fine. Okay, now let's discuss about the storage devices. The storage devices can be used for store a bit or a group of bits and retain this information as and when we require, right? A flip-flop is a storage device which is used to store only one bit at a time. And a group of flip-flops can be called as registers, which can be used to store a group of bits. And we will be having some semiconductor memories which can be used to store large number of bits. For example, RAM and ROM are semiconductor memories. Okay. So as we just said, this RAM and ROM are semiconductor memories, and this memory is made up of semiconductor switches, and this switch can be either in open state or in the closed state. And this position of the switch is used to represent the binary numbers 0 or 1. If the switch is open, that means the current won't pass through that switch, and so the switch is in the off state. Okay. And if the switch is in the closed state, that means the current can pass through that switch, and so it represents the state on. Okay. So using this binary number 0 and 1, we can represent the open and closed state of the switches. Okay. A single unit of memory is called a bit and can store either 0 or 1. And these two bits together allow 4 different binary numbers to be stored: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1. Okay. How this computer memory is measured? We can have various units of memory like bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, etc. Let us look into that. So 1 bit is equal to 0 or 1 byte, 8 bits is equal to 1 byte, 4 bits is equal to 1 nibble, 1024 bytes is equal to 1 kilobyte, 1024 kilobytes is equal to 1 megabyte, 1024 megabytes is equal to 1 gigabyte, 1024 gigabytes is equal to 1 terabyte, 1024 terabytes is equal to 1 petabyte, 1024 petabytes is equal to 1 exabyte, 1024 exabytes is equal to 1 zettabyte, ZETTA, 1024 zettabytes is equal to 1 yottabyte, YOTTA, 1 yottabyte. Okay. Okay, now let's revise the key terms that we discussed so far. The term analog means being continuous or having continuous values. The term digital means having a set of discrete values. Binary means having two states or values. 0 or 1, it describes a number system that has a base of 2 and utilizes 1 and 0 as its digits. Then the term bit means a binary digit which can be either 0 or 1. The term pulse means a sudden change or fluctuation from one logic level to another. And clock is the basic timing signal used in the digital system, and it is a periodic waveform used to synchronize the actions. Okay, the term fall time means it is the time measurement between the 90% on the trailing edge of a pulse to the 10% on the trailing edge of the pulse. Similarly, rise time means the time measurement between the 10% on the rising edge to the 90% on the rising edge of the pulse. Then the term amplitude means intensity of the signal waveform measured in volts. Duty cycle means the percentage of the ratio of pulse width to the total period T, PW divided by T. Then the period means the length of the time that the waveform takes to repeat itself, and frequency means the number of times the waveform repeats itself within 1 second time period. And the flip-flop is a storage device which is used to store only one bit at a time, and register is a collection of flip-flops that can be used to store a group of bits. So based on the topics that we discussed so far, let us attend a quiz. The first question is, compared to analog systems, digital systems are less susceptible to noise, can represent an infinite number of values, can handle much higher power, all of the above. So among these four options, the first option is the correct one. This digital systems are less prone to noise. The second question, the temperature variation is a digital quantity or analog quantity, either digital or analog quantity, none. So actually this temperature variation is not a discrete quantity respect to time. It is continuous with respect to time, and so it is an analog quantity. Third question, the interface between an analog signal and a digital processor. Okay, so the device which is used to convert this analog signal to digital. So the converter can be called as analog to digital converter, AD converter. Fourth question is the time measurement between the 50% on the leading edge of a pulse to the 50% on the trailing edge of the pulse is called the pulse width. The number of values that can be assigned to a bit. A bit can have two values, either 0 or 1, right? So it can have two values. The time measurement between the 10% on the rising edge of the pulse to the 90% on the rising edge of the pulse is called the rise time. 10% to the 90% on the rising edge of the pulse is called the rise time. Okay. The reciprocal of the frequency of a clock signal is the time period. F is equal to 1 by T. T is equal to 1 by F. Okay, the next question is a digital circuit that can store one bit at a time is a flip-flop, right? A flip-flop is a storage device which can be used to store one bit at a time. 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bits. 1024 bits. Nibble is equal to 4 bits. 1 nibble is equal to 4 bits. So my dear students, in this video we discussed about some prerequisites that are required to enroll into our course. Thank you.